Hello everyone and welcome to another section of the course. In this section, we're going to talk about value versus reference, a topic that's quite hard for many developers. It's the first topic, or at least one of the first topics, we're going to be like, this shouldn't be true. Why is this the case? Why is JavaScript doing it this way? So, in this section, we're going to make sure to learn value versus reference so that your code is predictable and it doesn't have any errors that value versus reference problems could cause. With that said, as always, we're going to create an index.html file and also a script.js file. I'm gonna copy the contents of the index.html file from any of our other sections and we're gonna paste it right here. With that said, we can now open our script, right-click the index.html to open with live server. After that, a new empty document is going to be opened and then you can click inspect. Inside of here, you can click on these three dots and open the doc in a new window. After you open it, we're going to put it side by side by our Visual Studio Code. We can start learning value versus reference. So far in this course, we already talked about different data types. More specifically, two big categories of data types. We have primitive values. In here, these are numbers, strings, booleans, also nulls, undefined, and so on. And complex values are only objects, but arrays are also objects, so they are listed in here as well. So the problem or the concept of value versus reference comes once we try copying values. So let's see how we can copy primitive values. For example, if I create a variable called let x is going to be equal to 1. And then if I do let y is going to be equal to x. In here, of course, we are setting the x to be equal to 1, right? Then I'm going to change the variable x to be equal to 2. Now we know that x should be 2, right? And then I just want to console log both x and y, just so we can see what's happening. Okay, if I now save that, on the left side, you should see that we have 2 and 1, exactly as we anticipated. Let's try one more example with strings. So in here, I'm gonna say let first person is going to be equal to Mark. And then let's do let second person is going to be equal to first person. Now, if we change the first person to be equal to, for example, Austin, and console log both the first person and the second person, what do you think the output is going to be? Before saving it, let's try to see it. Well, first we set the first person to be Mark, but then we changed it to Austin, right? So then this is going to be Austin. And in here, we immediately set the second person to be equal to first person while it was Mark. So second person should be Mark right here. Now, if we save that, you can see we get Austin and Mark. Pretty straightforward, right? Well, let's move to copying complex values. When copying complex values, JavaScript engine is not going to behave as you would initially think it would. Let me give you an example. Let's create an animals array. And in there, we can do something like dogs and cats. Now we're going to create a new variable called other animals. And then in there, we're going to just copy the animals array. So currently, animals array is dogs and cats. We can put that here. And also, this thing is dogs and cats as well, right? Now, I'm going to call our initial animals array, and then we're going to use the push method we learned previously in the course, and we're going to push one more animal in there. That animal can be llamas, for example. Now, we're going to console log animals, and we are also going to console log other animals. Okay, let's save it. Okay, let's think about it. So in here we had animals. Okay, then we copied it to other animals. And now we're only changing the original animals where we're pushing the llamas. So now the animals should be equal to this thing plus the llamas at the end, right? So to put it just right there, animals is going to be equal to this. And then other animals should be equal to this, right? Well, let's save it and find out. And as you can see, we didn't think correctly. Both of the arrays are the same, although we anticipated that the second array is not going to have lemmas. So wait, what? What happened here? Why are both arrays the same if we only push the value to the first array? Something just doesn't feel right, right? Let's try something similar with objects to see whether this behavior continues. I'm going to comment out this example, and then let's do something with objects. Const person is going to be a person, which is going to have a first name property of John, and also a last name property of Snow. Now we're going to create another person, so const other person, and we're going to set it to be equal to the person. So now we know that this one is Jon Snow, this one is Jon Snow as well. Just so we can see everything more clearly, let's put this into one line like this. Great. Now we have it in one line, and we have this right here. So now if I access the first person, and more specifically person.first name, and I set it to be equal to Johnny, like this, Johnny Snow. And then I console log the person, but I also console log the other person, like this. Again, what do you think the output is going to be? If we save it, you can see again, both the person and the other person changed, although we only changed the first name of the first person. So again, this doesn't look right. In the next lecture, we're going to explain why does this happen. It's going to make perfect sense.